Economists saying we're already there. Chief economics correspondent Rebecca Jarvis joins us now with to explain what all this means. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning to you, Cecilia. And the latest data from the Commerce Department shows the U.S. economy shrank between April and June, meaning consumer spending slowed, business investment fell, and stores reduced their restocking. Now, these are traditionally signs we could be facing a recession, but try and get this administration to even say the word recession, and you'd be hard-pressed.
Yeah, I wonder why the administration doesn't want to say the word recession, especially when entire premise that like the economy revolves around is like trying to analyze human behavior. One of those things is that human beings respond, right? Human beings respond the things that you say, and saying the word would probably make people panic. I mean, people are struggling when it's not a recession. You know what I mean? Sydney Sweeney struggling too? Bro, you are...
This morning, as debate grows over whether the U.S. is already in a recession or will be, the chairman of the Federal Reserve says we aren't there yet.
I do not think the U.S. is currently in a recession. And the reason is there are just too many areas of the economy that are performing.
Bro. There's a couple different ways of getting out of this situation, okay? But my opinion on it, as just as uneducated as like every other person, okay? This is an uneducated guess, is that dealing with the supply chain and ensuring that there is more supply to meet the demand, whether it be, consumer goods that are a part of the inflation metric, or even goods that are a necessity for survival, or goods or services that improve your position as a labor force, make you a more productive wage laborer, like college educations, or like I said, goods or services that are necessary for your survival, like healthcare or housing. Unless you, game the system a little bit further and make sure that those subsidies that you afford, or the subsidies that you offer to corporations, capitalist corporations, in an effort to boost productivity or boost the supply, actually is enforced somehow through a regulatory mechanism, these motherfuckers are not going to do shit. There's only two ways out of this. Either you kill a bunch of people because like people are fucking dying because they just don't have a job. They don't have any money. They're suffering. They're killing themselves. And then enough of them die. And then there's like less demand overall. Okay. Enough of them die. And then there's less demand overall. And then the prices have to be fucking pulled down. And also you have a more desperate workforce. So that now they're going to, be easily more servile, right? And they're going to turn around and say, yes, please, sir, I will do this fucking minimum wage job. I will let all the small business owners shit all over me at the Applebee's job. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, okay? Or you got to try and make things a little bit cheaper, No more tax breaks, no more subsidies if these corporations, if these companies are not going to follow what is best for the people rather than their own corporate profits.
President Biden striking an optimistic tone.
If you look at our job market, consumer spending, business investment, we see signs of economic progress in the second quarter as well.
Regardless of what it's called, Americans are feeling the pain in their wallets. According to a growing number of economists, including Bank of America and Goldman Sachs, the signs of a recession are forming, with inflation up 9.1%, prices rising on food, shelter, and transportation.
Damn, that's crazy, bro. If only there was a way to like deal with that. All three of these are fucking heavily subsidized industries. Okay? Heavily subsidized industries, either subsidized directly, okay, like agricultural production and for food, okay, straight up, or transportation also for oil and gas subsidies, but then also on top of that, it's supposed to be something that the government is literally taking care of, okay? Well, all the government does is take your money and subsidize their fucking corporate profits.
It's really hard to stick to a budget because now what I pay for gas a month is almost what I pay for rent a month.
Consumers also facing double-digit increases at grocery stores.
I used to do my monthly groceries for $200, and now it's costing me around $300, $350.
The National Bureau of Economic Research is the nonpartisan nonprofit that officially declares when recessions begin and end here in the United States. And they look at metrics like GDP, but they also consider things like unemployment and jobs, areas that have held up.
You kind of industry what they learn as dogma. Yeah, but the problem with that line of thinking is that at no point do you step away from that and go, wait a minute, we keep getting shit wrong. What the fuck's going on? Like, one of the greatest examples of this is that tight labor markets where unemployment is very, very low, damn near full employment, right, is supposed to create conditions that make it easier for workers to be able to demand higher wages. But we never really had a tight labor market until COVID, when like 1 million fucking workers died, okay? So how do you look at unemployment being record low, hitting record lows year over year over year over year in the United States of America leading up to COVID, and wages are fucking stagnant? Like, how does that happen? That is a direct counter to like one of the basic fucking principles, okay? One of the basic principles. Leaked Bank of America memo. We hope conditions for American workers will get worse. For the record, this is not even a leak. I mean, fucking, the only difference between this, okay, and like and the average fucking, what do you call it? The average textbook, the average econ textbook is that like leftists like to put a face and a name to the actual humans, okay, at the widget factory. If you think about it from a theoretical perspective, as you're learning it in your textbook, you never think about, in econ classes, you never learn about like the human beings that are at the widget factory, right? You just think about human beings as an asset. It's just capital stock, a resource. Thank you. Exactly. The chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, says his goal ultimately is to depress wages. Okay? He's literally talking about human beings. He's talking about how, in order to combat inflation, what we must do is depress wages. That, in and of itself, is still factoring in corporate profits into the equation without ever tackling the concept of corporate profits or profit margins getting smaller and smaller. If your worldview does not revolve around corporate profits taking a hit in any capacity, if that is never a solution, okay, then someone's got to pay. Who's got to pay? The workers. That is the component that is always seen as disposable. Who are the workers? You, motherfucker. You are the workers. Even if it is people having too much spending power, okay, there are two components to this. If there's too much demand, if demand is heating up and supply can't keep up with it, why the fuck don't you improve supply? How are you going to not improve supply then? No, it's the demand that we must curb.